What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what's really moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So NIO is up 2.56%, 471 the low, 487 the high, so fairly volatile day, and a lot of that extra volatility is because of the lower volume. So 21.5 million shares being traded, 65 is the average. On a macro standpoint, there hasn't been any data. Tonight though, we do have some inflationary data, but that'll roll over into next week, of course. No official news from NIO today, no SEC filings or anything like that. Only thing that did come out that is, I guess, new is NIO, or I guess ONVO, is doubling down on 10,000 being their target, delivery target for August. So they obviously in the past have set these very high expectations for themselves and they don't really live up to it. But I think this time, potentially from what we've seen, might be a little bit different with the L90. So if they can actually hit this target, then of course the stock price in theory should really move higher. If not, if they do miss for whatever reason, then yeah, of course it'll go down in accordance. But like I said, 21 million shares have been traded so far today. Of that, a good chunk is linked to shorts. So shorts are returning 6.75 million shares. 11.57% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 178.5 million shares overall being shorted. And this is something I've mentioned time and time again. Whenever you do have lower volume, shorts, whatever they do, whether that be increasing or decreasing or returning, they influence the price quite significantly. So let me know why they would be returning 6.75 million shares. The only thing I did essentially see that is new information is this about that 10,000 units. Is there any other potential reason why shorts would be returning at this stage in the game? But when it comes down to the options, that also could be maybe why they are returning, because they don't necessarily need to manipulate it. But what I mean by that is strike prices. So I'll go over that, I guess, in a second. But 1.99 million in calls, 776,000 in puts, and then 53% of all the options being done today are bullish in nature. So big money is still anticipating kind of a move higher, which is always a good thing. From a bulls standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that $5 range for the end of next week. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 450. So with us at 479, pretty much level ground. But what I meant by why shorts don't really need to double down and suppress it is open interest. So this is all the open interest. So you have 11,000 at that 450, 33,000 at that 5, 18,000 at that 550. So let's say NIO was closer to that, let's say $5 range, where it does have 33,000 open interest. Well, at that stage, market makers and shorts have a financial interest in ensuring those expire worthless. So they might increase just to double it down. But where NIO is at the 479 price point, it's a little bit too far away from that 5. So maybe this is why they are kind of freeing up some room, because they don't think NIO will hit $5 today. So regardless of what they do, it'll kind of still expire worthless, if that kind of makes sense. Hopefully that made sense, at least in my head, hopefully. But nonetheless though, these are all the transactions occurring on the dark pool, so rather quiet, but it does match with the overall lower volume. With it right now at 480, trading between this pivot and this S1. So 461 is going to be a strong support, hasn't been touched today. Then 484 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. It did momentarily break above that, but of course not really enough to stay there. So 484 is going to be that key point to ideally for it to close above today. So just kind of watch for that. And then 507 and then 521 is going to be the following resistance points. No new analyst ratings, no real articles coming out associated to NIO at all. So like I said, it is just shorts really just returning a significant amount, and then the technicals. So on the actual chart, it is right now above the ALMA, showing signs that it wants to really move higher. It's already above all the key pivotal moving averages that I generally like to look at. So the 50, 100, and 200. Stochastic RSI, it is very oversold. So potentially that 10,000 news might be enough to really prompt some buying and really push it higher, and as well maybe shorts as well. But that could also stand to benefit it going into next week if we do get some good inflationary data. So let me know your thoughts on NIO. Are you buying? Are you selling? Like I said, I kind of did look, and I've brought up a lot of things over the last couple of videos, but what do you feel is the attributing cause for NIO to move higher? Do you think that just big money is finally looking at NIO as more of a value play? So what's your viewpoint? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Hopefully everyone has an amazing weekend. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.